Kel'el Ware was the 2024 pick for the Miami Heat, 15th overall. And now we're going to talk about today if he could be a starter for this Heat basketball team. A lot of people believe he should be. Bleacher Report had some thoughts on the matter. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. And before we just dive into Kel'el Ware and everything around the rookie center, I want you to follow me over on Twitter. And we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different today. The first 10 people that follow me over at Twitter/X, handle is Nic_Rohloff, I will give you a follow back when the Heat season officially resumes in a month and a half in late October. Well, we're going to have the best coverage on YouTube and on my personal Twitter account, so go give me a follow today. All right, so the backstory on this. Bleacher Report actually went out for all 30 NBA teams and had an off-season reaction and posed a question. Well, for the Miami Heat, the overreaction was, should Kel'el Ware be a starter? And he finishes the year as a starter. But they also gave a confidence meter on one of these questions happening, scale 1 to 10. Well, the Kel'el Ware one wasn't very high. The confidence meter for this possibly being the scenario is 1.4, so relatively low when you think about other ones happening. And that basically is signaling that Bleacher Report doesn't really believe that Kel'el Ware will end up being a starter throughout the season. I believe Kel'el Ware will start basketball games this year for the Miami Heat because I don't think Bam Adebayo is going to play all 82 games, and if Kel'el Ware shows the ability to play in the league and be the primary backup center for Miami, well, when Bam is out, they're probably going to start Kel'el Ware. But I just think it's a little aggressive to have Kel'el Ware as a starter for the first game of the year or really any part of this season. You know how difficult it is to be a starter as a rookie unless you're a top 5, top 10 pick, which that's not even guaranteed. Think about Reed Shepard over in Houston, third overall pick. He ain't going to be starting day one. He's beyond Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green. Like, they're not making a big fuss over him starting because you just have to realize that, one, he might not be ready, and two, there probably is better options. And that could be the same thing said for the Miami Heat. No one knows the specific starting lineup for Game 1. We know Jimmy and Bam are going to be in there, but the other three spots are up for interpretation. Likely going to have one of Terry Rozier or Tyler Hero, maybe both. Don't know if Jovic is going to be the 4. Maybe it's Highsmith. Maybe it's Jaime. I'd probably bet on Jovic, but could it be Kel'el Ware? I'm not sure if that's the best move for him and the best move for the team. And for a team that has got so many aspirations for postseason success, it is a little bit of a more bold move, let's say, to actually end up starting a rookie. Even Derek Lively, who was the best rookie center last season, he didn't start. He backed up Daniel Gafford after they made that trade. What say you, though? We're going to continue the conversation here. Should Kel'el Ware be a starter day one for the Miami Heat? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I know a lot of you guys think that he should be, but you give me your comments down below. All right, I don't see this happening in year one. Now, like I said, will he start some games? Yes, because Bam's not going to play all 82. And if he does, whoa, praise the Lord, hallelujah. But I just don't think that's going to end up happening. So the question is, should Ware and Bam start together? I don't think that's going to happen next year. I think that is a very real possibility if he's still on the roster because you never know when a trade could possibly strike. But Kel'el Ware showed you everything that you'd want to see from him during Summer League after the Heat drafted him out of Indiana at the 15th overall pick. Like, he was dominant. He really was. He was the best center at Summer League, which netted him on the first team all Summer League squad, robbed of MVP, but also brought a championship to South Beach. Remember, folks, they are the last team to hoist a trophy inside the NBA, winning that Summer League championship against the Memphis Grizzlies. But he displayed the ability to finish around the rim, to rebound, block shots, even had a nice little three-point stroke at times. Kel'el Ware was very, very impressive during his 6 games at Summer League. And that doesn't even account for, by the way, the games that he played at the California Classic that featured a 27 and 10 rebound game. He was terrific. And when the Heat drafted him on that late night in June, and the Heat made the pick at 15, and you're thinking, okay, we got a new center. We got Kel'el Ware. What do I want to see him? What does he need to show me in Summer League over the offseason to make me feel good about this Heat draft pick? Well, he exceeded that by quite a wide margin, if you're asking me. There could not have been a better performance for Kel'el Ware this offseason. Honestly, it's very impressive for him to even somewhat spark the conversation that he should be starting this season alongside Bam Adebayo. That shows how well he played during Summer League. but I do not think it's realistic to expect him to be a starter from day one. And I don't think Miami should do that because it could hurt his development as well. More to come here in just a second, but we are sponsored by PrizePicks, the #1 way to play daily fantasy sports. And with the football season getting started this weekend in the big leagues, you got to get started. And they actually have a really cool deal for you and the 5 million active members with PrizePicks. One Caleb Williams passing yard gets you one win on PrizePicks every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Shout out Jameis Winston. Don't miss the deal on PrizePicks because it's going to be only for the month of September. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You just pick 2 or more player stat projections, pick more or less, and you can have the winnings roll in, like I said, up to 100 times. I'm going with a little different one this football weekend. I'm staying in South Beach for the most part, baby. Tyreek Hill, more than 91.5 receiving yards, best wide receiver in football. Take the more, which means, well, Tua is probably going to throw for more than 255.5. I think they're going to air raid it out over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then also go less than Joe Burrow, 252.5. Jamar Chase, he's probably going to play, but hey, they haven't really connected that much this training camp and in practice. Also, Burrow's got that wrist thing, little odd, so maybe he goes less than. Patriots defense also kind of good. That's a 3-player entry to win 5 times my money, but make sure you get in on the action. This football season and basketball season is just around the corner. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Shout out Charles Barkley. Shouted out Charles Barkley and Jameis Winston during this read, by the way. That's electric. PrizePicks. Run your game. All right, let's get back to Kel'el Ware now because defensive awareness is something that I picked up on when he was playing in Summer League. Very good. Listen, there's no denying that his rim protection and shot blocking was very, very impressive. But there were times where he was caught ball watching, caught too focused on hunting block shots instead of playing smart IQ basketball on the defensive end of the floor. And I think that's what makes Bam Adebayo the best defender in the NBA, by the way. And that's what has held him back, honestly, from winning Defensive Player of the Year. Because if he hunted block shots like that fraud Rudy Gobert and that fraud Jaren Jackson Jr., and he averaged 2.5 blocks a game, he'd probably have a depoy right now. But what does Bam Adebayo do so special? He knows when he can't get to a block shot and he needs to just contest it, or instead of trying to go for the block shot and really step up, and he trusts his teammates to get back, and he cuts off the passing lane. So he hedges on the shot or the drive, which makes the defender have to pass it, and then he gets back to his man, is able to defend and force a miss and get the board. Bam Adebayo is so good at that. Kel'el Ware needs to focus on that. And he also needs to stop ball watching, too, because he got beat a backdoor a couple times on the Summer League stage. I think he also needs to improve his consistent three-point shot. It was shown that he has the ability to make a lot of threes. But I'm not so sold on it being consistent. He shot 30% in training, or not training camp, but he shot 30% in Summer League. I don't know why that was so difficult for me right there. And I don't know if there's going to be able to work right away, right? Like, Bam Adebayo also needs to show that he can be consistent in his three-point shot as well. Because the only way that those two can work hand in hand is if one of them can hit threes from the outside and really threaten the defense. Because if not, well, the opposing defense is two big guys are just going to sit in the paint guarding Kel'el Ware and Bam and saying, well, we're going to make Bam and Kel'el Ware shoot from the outside every time, and probably not going to go so well, and we're just not going to let Tyler, Terry, Jimmy, Jaime, Jovic get downhill at whatsoever, because we know they're going to have to kick it out to a subpar three-point shooter. So for them to play together, they're going to need to have a consistent three-point shot, either him or Bam. All right, last one. He needs to bulk up. This is the most obvious one to me. That is the thing coming in. Really good frame. 7 feet tall. 4.5-inch wingspan. Elite measurables. But he's a little frail. And I am nervous that when he gets up against big, strong NBA centers, he could be bullied around a little bit. Like, I know we're talking the best of the best, the physical of the physical, but what are we going to really expect Kel'el Ware to do day one as a starter if he is tasked with guarding players like Jonas Valanciunas, Steven Adams, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid. Like, that's the job for Bam Adebayo, but if you're starting Kel'el Ware, you'd likely have to stick him on them and then have Bam as your ranging guy that guards on the perimeter but can also switch inside, which could ultimately help Bam personally on the defensive side. But I don't know if I would trust Kel'el Ware to handle the size and battle on the boards with some of those big NBA centers. That's an issue that I have with Kel'el Ware. Those are 3 improvements needed for me throughout this rookie season until I make him a starter. What's the one thing you want to see get improved by the rookie from Indiana for him to become a starter? Or you could answer that he doesn't have to prove anything and he already should be a starter. That's your opinion. It's unfortunately wrong, though. Elite traits, though, that he has displayed. Because I don't want to only point out the negatives for Kel'el Ware. Let's talk about some of the positives. Number 1, rebounding. He was an excellent rebounder at Indiana, averaged 10 rebounds a game. But he also was really good at Summer League, averaging 8.3 rebounds. And his size is only going to help Bam get more rebounds because that's one thing that Heat fans have always had an issue with this Heat roster and build is that Bam's the only big player out there, and he's really kind of undersized for a center's perspective at 6'10". So it's difficult at times to close out defensive possessions on the glass. But if you were to put Kel'el Ware and Bam together, well, now you have a 7-footer and Bam at the 4 at 6'10", and you'd probably be able to close out a lot more defensive possessions on the glass. But it also could help you offensively when you have those 2 guys attacking the offensive glass like Kel'el Ware and Bam would be able to do. So that is something that is pretty good about Kel'el Ware. And even though I talked about his shot blocking and how much he kind of hunts it at times, or at least what I've seen at Summer League, he is a good shot blocker. And he will be a deterrent inside the restricted area. Like when players drive, and maybe not right away because people are going to always press and threaten the rookie and not be feared from him, unless your name's Victor Wembanyama. Kel'el Ware will have a reputation early and often of you don't want to go in there because with his wingspan and his ability to get off the floor vertically, he is going to get his hands on a lot of shots that these veterans probably thought he wouldn't be able to do, and that word will spread around the league, making him one of the more feared rim protectors in the NBA. And the last elite trait that he has is being a lob threat. We saw it. He had some ridiculous poster dunks during Summer League. Just either off the dribble on a pick and roll or coming out in transition. But also he had that one which was absolutely nuts where Pelle Larsson drives, throws it up. Kel'el Ware goes, hi-ya! And he goes right over the top of a defender for a highlight reel dunk. That is something he'll bring to the table day one. And that's what a lot of people makes a lot of people believe that he could have a Derek Lively type impact because that's what Lively did so well for Dallas a year ago, catching lobs from Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Only issue with that, though, well, Miami doesn't have a Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving to throw him lobs. They just have Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. Make sure you are following me over on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff. Like I said, I'll give you a follow back if you're one of the first 10 people to follow me. Talk about the Heat every day, so it's pretty worth it if you're asking me if you call yourself a Heat fan. But either way, see you tomorrow with a video. Like always, go Heat.